Okay, that's better. Don't you think it sounds so much better when I'm not muted, guys? At least I hope you do.
Sounds pretty good now, Robin.
Okay, thank you, Producer Jerry. Welcome to Event Horizons. What a pleasure to be with you again every morning, Monday through Friday, from 10 a.m. to noon. There is so much going on around the world. I look at the headlines and it's, but we'll find the good and we'll find the interesting and we'll find the relevant and all that news that you so desperately need to know. That is what we will be sharing here with you. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, a big welcome and a big thank you for joining us and making us your choice this morning. We hope we will become your addiction for the news. That's what it is all about, because it is a challenge these days to have access to that necessary information to make informed choices. I'm Dr. Robin Falkov, your anchor. I'm an oriental medical doctor, homeopathic physician. I have some additional training in Western medicine. And my website is healthfreedomrights.com, where you are all welcome to write to me. I would love to get feedback and hear what's on your mind. I want to know what issues are the biggest concern to you. I know so many are turned off by the political machinations and food fights and kindergarten antics, which have devolved from Saturday Night Live skits into those kindergarten antics. So we're looking at a farce of a government. It's not parties, my friends. It's a disrespect for the people of this country on both fronts. And that needs to change, and it will, as they are held accountable. We can see voting records. We will be taking action. We have organizations like oathkeepers.org. We also have the Community Environmental Legal Defense Fund. We have more and more groups that you will be hearing about, that we will all be learning about, that will help us reclaim our country and reclaim our world, because it is of the utmost necessity. Just seeing the laughingstock the United States has become around the world, perhaps that will motivate some Americans to just say, forget about these bozos. We've got to get back on track. Our founding fathers gave us extraordinary guidelines to follow, and they will work once again when they are not permitted to become corrupted by greed, by these elected ones who have no problem taking any amount of donation and veiled bribes, to say, so that the agenda of big corporations is placed before the needs of we the people. And that just doesn't fly for me. I know it doesn't fly for you. I don't want a nanny government, and I know from what I'm hearing, neither do you. We are just reaching this insanity, this boiling point where people are so disgusted. What did we do? We bought ourselves some time here in this country until January, when we have to go through all of this idiocy again. We need responsible, proper assessment of what must be done for this country that puts the needs of we the people first, that is looking at the long term and not all of these Band-Aid fixes that are all too prevalent in all aspects of society, from politics to economics to medicine, across the board. It doesn't work. Let's get to the root causes and fix things so the problems don't come back. That's my focus in medicine, and it's a wonderful focus to apply to all aspects of our lives. Fix the problem. That's the only way to eliminate it, when you're dealing with the root cause. So you're here, you know about Revolution Radio, and you know what our commitment is. And what I find priceless is that there are so many options. You can help us with subscriptions to the podcast for $4.95 a month. You can make outright donations. You can donate your time. You can remember the power of the dollar, which really is something that must launch. Please share this one, people, because it empowers everybody, even those of us that don't have that extra money. We don't have the discretionary income to help out perhaps as we might like to on a larger level. But we can all do something when we're together, when we're united, because the numbers are enormous and we can make a difference. And when we unite and when we have these strong communities, we become a bigger force to be reckoned with. Because right now, the politics are paying attention. They were caught with their pants down. They were caught with their idiotic antics that just ego let them get carried away with. And we, the people, had to stand by and watch. So if you're as mad as I am and as disgusted, make those calls to 866-220-0044. That's 866-220-0044. Excuse me, guys. And have that list ready. No more Band-Aid fixes. No more Congress, Senate being allowed to vote for salary increases for themselves and then to pass it for themselves. No, those amendments must be changed. And we will be making very strong, actions when we vote these bozos out of office. And so many say, do you really think that's going to make a difference? Well, until we can do a reset in total and get back to what our original guidelines were and eliminate the corruption and the lobbying and the corporate takeovers, well, then that's the best that we can do. And I'm not a big fan of settling for the best, but in this instance, it's a matter of time. It's a matter of more people waking up, and that's where each and every one of you come in, because you can share the information that you know, and I hope this responsibility lies heavily on your shoulders. So we've got some really good news coming up with Melanie Vritschan, our reporter in Brussels, Belgium. They had an outstanding event, and I'll let Melanie share the results with you because, boy, do I love happy news, and I know that you, my audience, love that as well. So, Producer Jerry, if we can get Melanie on, that would be great. I know she's standing by and excited. I'm so pleased to hear Melanie happy and that things are going great. So, good afternoon, Melanie. We're so happy that you've got a lot of good news to share.
Yes, good afternoon, Robin. Indeed, I have a lot of good news to share.
It's wonderful to hear it in your voice.
Yes, so in fact, last week we were just before our event, our scanning event, that we had in Brussels to scan members of the public for radio frequency emissions that thought that they could have been victimized by covered technology. And so we had that, did that very successfully, if I may say. Well, I mean, with a lot of positive results. I don't know if that is good or bad, but at least it provides these people with evidence, because otherwise, as we know, very sadly, they're most of the time not taken seriously and tend to a psychiatrist or even worse. So we had on Saturday we had 12 people that we scanned. All of them were positive. And the areas there were mostly the majority was, as usual, between 40 and 50 years old, but it was pretty homogeneous this time. A little bit more in this age group, more or less also the same male and female. This is new because usually we have more females. And most of the time we found these, radio frequency emissions coming from the head, typically TMJ area, sinuses, thyroid, crown of the head, back of the head, and a lot in the spine as well. So a few other areas are the scapular area, near the sternum as well, abdomen, in the genitals, hands, knees, ankles, and thighs. So people came from the UK, Germany, Czech Republic, the Netherlands, France, Belgium, Slovenia, and Croatia. So I don't know. I think it's the first time that we have somebody from Croatia. Croatia, from the 1st of July onwards, has just joined the European Union. So maybe that's now easier for them to travel. But that was the first day, and the second day we had 9 participants, and there were especially a lot of people with Morgellons, which is a special particularly invasive type of technology, as you know, Robin. That is, the official name is Smart Dust, and it was developed and funded by DARPA. And there we had, on that day we had 9 participants, with a lot of Belgians, I think, 4 or 5 Belgian participants from Belgium. And also, I was particularly touched by this. There was one lady, a mother with her child, with her young son, that came. The mother was half Belgian, half American, in fact. So she was born here, then she lived in America. I think her parents are from the US, and then she came back here, and they were both positive. So also the child, which is very concerning, because unfortunately, as we see, we have more and more young victims. And when I say young, this is very young. We had toddlers.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that were emitting radio frequencies. So this is very concerning. But okay, let's say in total we scanned 21 people, and all of them were positive. So that was 100%. Positive rate.
Well, and it's making quite a point, Melanie, as you're stating, the diversity of countries that had people coming to you for this testing. It's a problem that's around the world. It's not just in any one area. It's everywhere.
Yes, it's indeed a global phenomena, and okay, this time they were coming from Europe, mostly from different European countries, but we have in the past had people that came from the US, that came from Canada, just to get a scan with us. So we have the possibility also for US citizens to get scanned if they write to us@ICAACT.org. But they come from very far. Indeed. I, spoke to people a little bit after their scan to see, what was their reaction. And most of them, although some were in shock, but most of them, they were rather glad, because it confirmed to them that they were, not crazy, not delusional, how they were mostly called by, physicians, family doctors, but or neighbors, but a victim of a crime. So they mostly, found this, that we offer this verification, that we do these tests. It was mostly positive for them. That was the Brussels scanning. So I have now even more arguments to, turn to the European Union and the European Parliament in particular to ask for their urgent attention on these issues, because the fact that we have every time so high rates, positive rates, is certainly an indication for us that this, victimization with this discovered technologies is much more widespread than that you could think. And as I said, the victims get younger and younger. So that means children are at risk. The other positive a development which concerns me personally, which I wanted to share with you, is that although I do not so often talk about my personal case, but 2 years ago my ex-husband started a custody procedure against me when it was obvious that I was a Magellan's victim, and there was by court psychological expertise, so-called expertise ordered, and we didn't even talk about Magellan's, but just on the fact that my ex-husband had told her that he thought that I had said that I was victimized by covered technology was enough to write a report for the psychologist to say that I was delusional and paranoid. And it was pretty outrageous, and that my son should have been taken away from me and I should not be allowed to see him, or just 1 hour per week in a supervised facility for parents that are basically considered a threat to the child, or are violent in any case, which was absolutely not my case. Right. And the fact that I had an attestation, a certificate by a psychiatrist, in fact, and another psychologist saying the total opposite, was totally ignored. So now that we went with the International Center Against Abuse of Covered Technologies, that we went through all the stages with one group, me including me, that we did the testing in a controlled environment in a Faraday cage, which is the third phase of our testing, and with positive results. We did this with a group of 14 people and a control group to substantiate the findings, is now conclusive evidence that these people are victimized by covered technologies against their consent. So I went this weekend with my report proving that I'm a victim of a crime, proving that I have Morgellons and I'm not at all delusional or paranoid, to the house of this lady, and handed this report in to her, and informed her by the same token that I would not accept that on top of it, for calling me delusional and taking my son away, she wanted €1,000. So yes. And I didn't start this procedure, so I have asked for nothing, basically. I have not ordered any of her services, let's say, and the expertise was ordered by court. So,
would want her services.
Yes, it is, it's almost criminal. I mean, it's definitely totally unethical, at least. So, I told her that, okay, would you please look at this report, which proves that I'm a victim of a crime and not at all, as you said, paranoid or delusional, and therefore I challenge your psychological expertise, and I do not consent in paying you on top of €1,000. So, so I don't know how she will react, or if she will even react. But if she does, that wouldn't be very smart, because then. I don't think it's in her interest that the judge gets aware of her total failure, or total, let's say,
unprofessionalism, or lack of ability.
Yes, indeed. So, but that felt really good. Doing this,
I can imagine. But did you get to see her face to face, or you just left the papers?
No, I did not, because I don't know if she didn't want to see me, or
I wonder why.
Yes, but that doesn't matter. I put the report with a letter in her mailbox, and I made sure that I went there with my colleague, in fact, so that I have a witness, Diane, that was here last time. So she filmed everything, and so we made photos, so I can certainly prove that I have been at her house and that this package has been delivered to her.
Wow.
So, we'll see.
It's long overdue, and I just my heart goes out to you, Melanie, with the amount of time that you have had to bear the burden and the stigma of the lies that they placed upon you, the ignorant and prejudiced lies that they said, to the point of taking away your child. It is just obscene. There should be some kind of criminal action that you can take against this woman.
Yes, I think actually because what happened is that, okay, let's say I don't think so, but let's say she was totally ignorant of this technology and people victimized against their consent with such technology, although we found that especially the psychiatric community and the psychological community is often highly complicit in this. But let's, give her the benefit of the doubt, and let's say she really didn't know. Then certainly in the process there was a letter from our president, the ICAACT president, Jesse Beltran. There was a lawyer, Dr. Henning Witte, who is a German-Swedish lawyer who is, in the European Coalition Against Covert Harassment as our legal advisor, who wrote to her saying, be careful before you render your judgment, so to say, because you have to really do in-depth research about the subject, because if you don't, then it's very possible that you yourself make yourself an accomplice of a crime, and later, be aware, lady, you can get sued for this. She had all this evidence and, many articles and, yes, so, and other victims' testimonies that, claim to be the victims of the same crime, and certainly, Jesse Beltran wrote to him and a lawyer's letter, stating that she should be careful before she gives this expertise, saying I'm paranoid because, she is, if I can prove that I'm a victim of a crime, I can sue her. And she totally decided to ignore this and wrote back, which was totally unprofessional. Well, I got this evidence, but I have no time to read this.
Oh, and, boy.
Yes, working for the court. I mean, and well, actually, I have already made up my mind. So, I've sent us this report to my lawyer and to myself and to the judge, and that saying that I was basically paranoid and the child was in grave danger with such a delusional mother, and should be taken away from me as soon as possible, which is then what happened. So, yes, I know that now I have to prove absolutely conclusive evidence that I'm a victim of a crime. So, you're right, Robin, there should be, most probably, I should be able to sue her, yeah.
Yeah, criminal actions against her. Well, I have to tell you, Melanie, it is such a pleasure to hear the happiness in your voice and to share it with you and with the extended family here at Event Horizons, because I've heard from others in similar situations as yourself, and you have lived quite a nightmare to be labeled by this irresponsible and ignorant supposed mental health care person. Oh my gosh, it is a travesty. So
I hope that at least, with doing this, I can maybe prevent that this kind of thing happens to other parents and other children.
Oh, most definitely. You have your vindication. You have made public a form of testing that will vindicate so many others. You have the confirmation to show that, yes, these conditions exist. They're measurable. And that is a big deal, and you've done such service for so many other people. So I thank you for hanging in there and fighting this battle. Oh, it's a great job. We're coming up on break, and we'll look forward to more updates from you next week, Melanie. And I'm very excited. If you could just give out the websites again, please.
Yes, so the ICAACT website is ICAACT.org, ICAACT.org. And if you want to know a little bit more about our lobbying work we do with the European Parliament, then you should consult EUCACH.org, so EUCACH.org, EUCACH.org.
That's perfect. I thank you so much. And those of you listening, this is why it is so important to share this information, because you can have friends or family members that will think that maybe these doctors are right, I'm crazy, and they aren't. And now you can give them hope, because there's news that will tell them about this technology. And we are back. I'm Dr. Robin Falkov, and you're listening to Event Horizons. And boy, oh boy, I hope you can hear the smile in my voice with the good news that our team member Melanie Vritschan shared. I have met too many people over the years who have had to deal with Morgellons and being told that it's all in their minds. And my friends, we have concrete proof with these diagnostic procedures that verify this condition and the chipping and other technologies that are used against people around the world. This is a big deal, and hopefully these testing centers will be able to spread, and more people will have access, and they will have peace of mind, and they will no longer be unjustly labeled and stigmatized. This is wonderful news, and I'm very pleased about it. I'm very pleased about it. I'm very